Further investigation and experimentation have confirmed the findings of Isaac Newton in the 17th century, and it is now definitely established that a rocket can function in a vacuum as well as in an atmosphere. The Times regrets the error. So predictions about science are doubly perilous. They can turn out to be wrong because of science that is currently unknown, and they can turn out to be wrong because of the fundamental misunderstanding of known science. With this in mind, I should have known better myself when I was asked to comment on future science. On May 25, 2006, two groups of researchers announced independent papers in the journal Science outlining theoretically how one could design an invisibility cloak. The first paper, Optical Conformal Mapping, was written by Ulf Leonhard, then at the University of St. Andrews in Scotland. The second, Controlling Electromagnetic Fields, was written by John Pendry of Imperial College London, together with David Schurig and David Smith of Duke University in North Carolina. Despite the rather technical-sounding titles, the papers had exciting implications. Both described similar strategies for how one could design a device that would guide light around a central hidden region and send it along on its way, as if it had encountered nothing at all. The device would, in principle, cloak an object within it from detection, making it effectively invisible. I was perhaps more excited than anyone else about these results, since my own PhD work, completed in 2001, was related to early attempts to describe invisibility in physics. In 2003, in a meeting in Kiev, Ukraine, I happened to talk a little about my early work with Ulf Leonhard, a fellow attendee. The 2006 research, however, was a game-changer and really made scientists consider that invisibility might not only be possible but actually be feasible. Naturally, the two publications captured worldwide attention, and journalists and scientists everywhere scrambled to understand the implications of the results. Thanks to my earlier work in the field, which we'll talk about later, I was contacted by a few news organizations to discuss invisibility cloaks and their potential uses. It was during one of these interviews that I was asked the perilous question: when do you think we will see a working invisibility cloak? Facing such a question, the scientist has a natural instinct to be conservative. The technology required to make invisibility cloaks a reality did not seem to exist yet in 2006 and appeared to be quite difficult to achieve in practice. Any answer I gave would be at best a guess, and I settled on 5 years for my reply. This number reflected my view that the experiments would be difficult and take time, but would not be impossible. And if I were wrong and experiments were never successful, nobody would remember what I had said after 5 years. The first experimental demonstration, however, was published in November 2006, only 6 months after the theoretical work was released. I had guessed too long by 4.5 years. Though that first experimental test was done using microwaves, not visible light, and was thus not invisible in the strictest sense of the word, it showed that the principles of invisibility cloaks were not as impossible as they first seemed. This, for me, exemplifies a trend in the science of invisibility ever since. It has been full of surprises and has been hard to predict. Since those groundbreaking papers in 2006, scientific journals and news sources alike have been filled with breathless accounts suggesting that true invisibility is almost here, perhaps just one crucial discovery away from being a reality. A small sample of some of my favorite headlines. Invisibility cloaks are in sight, May 25, 2006. Researchers create functional invisibility cloak using mirage effect, October 5, 2011. We're one step closer to a true invisibility cloak, January 26, 2012. Scientists invent Harry Potter's invisibility cloak. Sort of. March 30th, 2013. Canadian company created an invisibility shield called Quantum Stealth. October 21st, 2019. Special